Tonight, the former chair of the board of Regina Exhibition Association Limited speaks out, defending himself and the board for decisions made while also leveling several accusations. Also, a step in the right direction. Reaction as the government sends patients out of province for breast cancer diagnostics. Plus, for the first time, Buffy Sainte-Marie responds to CBC News directly after claims of her Cree ancestry and Saskatchewan roots are removed from her website.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, November 30th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for watching. We are finally hearing from the former board chair of Regina Exhibition Association Limited after an abrupt mass resignation last week. The former chair, Wayne Morski, is questioning whether the new interim board can handle the load. Morski and others resigned after City Council decided to remove them. City Council appointed interim board members last Friday, which did include City Manager Nikki Anderson. In his statement, Morski says he's skeptical that Anderson will be able to handle the load. He says she's only attended one board meeting as a non-voting member. CBC News contacted the city for Anderson's response, as well as each council member. Councillor Bob Hawkins agrees with Morski.
There's no question that there is not the capacity within the city to properly handle and manage rail. What's more, the interim board, I believe, that was appointed by the city is illegal. I believe it's illegal because it's riddled with conflict of interest.
Morski also alleges that some councillors sought free event tickets and in one case a job and interfered in tenant lease negotiations. Last night we told you about the province's plan to send breast cancer patients to Calgary for diagnostic procedures because of a massive backlog in Saskatchewan. It's a welcome short-term solution for some, but as Laura Sharpaletti reports, the pressure is on for the province to roll out long-term solutions.
Lindsay Rogers has waited more than 3 months for a breast biopsy. Back in October, she sounded the alarm in an interview with CBC, calling on the government to urgently help women in need of diagnostic scans. She says the province's decision to send people to Alberta for help is a step in the right direction.
It is a start. I think the speed that this happened has been because of all of the voices that have come forward. Yes, I came forward. I'm one, but there have been many, many others that have also been coming forward that have been writing their MLAs.
The province is contracting ClearPoint, a private health company in Calgary, until March 2025 to offer 1,000 scans to eligible Saskatchewan patients on an urgent wait list. The Minister of Health says it's a temporary solution, but opposition leader Carla Beck says she's shocked the government is sending patients out of province.
He should be apologizing for letting it get to this point, for not prioritizing women's health care to get us where we are today.
I'd prefer to have them done here in Saskatchewan, but in the absence of that, because of the shortage of radiologists we have right now in Regina, the other option is to have people get this on an immediate basis, being referred by the Regina Breast Assessment Centre. Given that option, have that done in Calgary.
The ministry will cover medical costs for eligible patients and reimburse travel costs for up to $1,500 for each patient and a support person. In the meantime, Rogers says she wants to hear loud and clear how the province is recruiting radiologists. A breast cancer survivor from Saskatoon says she also wants to see the age for mammograms reduced to 40 years old.
It reduces the cost, it saves more lives. The health system will not notice or experience that surge in demand.
Hindley says the province plans to fill technologist vacancies as soon as it can. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority has signed a new patient rights and responsibility agreement. The agreement covers patient safety, quality care, and commitment to truth and reconciliation. The SHA says the document lays out expectations to provide safe, accessible, and respectful health care.
We acknowledge that at times the health system is facing pressures, and currently we're facing pressures in a number of our services. I think it's more important than ever that we live our values, we live our commitment to patient and family-centered care, and again, this document really expresses our commitment to do our best for the people that we serve.
The SHA says it collaborated and received input on the agreement from more than 700 people across the province.
Dig in there. There we go.
St. Paul's Hospital in Saskatoon is getting a facelift today, a groundbreaking for the expansion of the front entrance. Graham Construction is leading what will be a fully accessible and expanded front entrance. It will include some interior renovations too, with the relocation of patient registration, security, information services, and a gift shop. There will also be more washrooms and a First Nations and Métis cultural healing centre. The health minister says that centre is an important step in the province's reconciliation journey. The budget is $17.5 million, with construction to be complete in the fall of 2025. Text messages captured from the phone of a leader of what became the Freedom Convoy show former Premier Brad Wall was giving advice to protesters. The messages were entered as evidence in the trial of Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. David Fraser has more.
Saskatchewan's longtime Premier Brad Wall sent supportive messages and advice to Convoy organizer Chris Barber in winter 2022. That is according to court evidence presented yesterday. Recently unsealed text messages between Barber and Saskatchewan politicians, Wall and an MLA. They show Wall encouraged the convoy, saying it was creating some elbow room for provinces to begin to move away from mandates. In other texts, he warned Barber to encourage the group to stay nonviolent and not to get riled up by counter-protesters. Wall did not respond to a request for comment about the texts. Court also learned that Barber received messages of support from Hugh Nerleen, an MLA in the governing Saskatchewan party. He told Barber he appreciates all that he's doing and that his government has numerous challenges with the feds. In a statement to CBC, Nerleen said that Barber is a member of his extended family and the messages were not part of his work as an MLA. David Fraser, CBC News, Ottawa.
It is the first day of the latest COP28 climate conference in Dubai. Representatives from nearly 200 countries are attending the UN's annual climate talks. Canada's delegation is the largest ever. The conference's president has urged countries to find common ground.
We know, as you know, the gravity of this moment. We feel, as you feel, the urgency of this work.
Delegates approved a new disaster fund to help poor countries cope with extreme weather events. A recent report by the UN says up to $380 billion will be needed annually to help. Premier Scott Moe will soon be heading to Dubai for the COP28 summit. Today, he provided an update. Saskatchewan is spending $765,000 on this pavilion space to host events and network. The government has said it needs to have its own space. It's in an area organized by the UAE government, and it's separate from the official conference. Today, Moe was joined by representatives from the 50 companies and organizations with ties to the province that will use the space over a 2-week span. He says the focus will be promoting sustainable practices in agriculture and energy production and selling the idea to potential buyers.
This is, talking about how we're producing those products from an environmental perspective. And we, you've heard me talk about it, and we need to do, I think, a more ambitious work in that space, more ambitious communication in that space, not only to our customers around the world, of which we're trying to achieve here, and providing that platform for organizations and industries to do that, but doing it to other Canadians as well.
The opposition has criticized the cost of the trip and pavilion. The NDP says when you factor in travel costs for Moe and his staff and salaries of those working on the event, the cost to taxpayers will reach $1 million. Moe disputes that claim. For the first time since a CBC Fifth Estate investigation found flaws in Buffy Sainte-Marie's claims to Indigenous heritage, the singer-songwriter has responded directly to CBC News. As Jeff Leo reports, it comes after claims that she was a Cree woman born on a Saskatchewan First Nation were wiped from her website.
The opener has totally changed. Ira LaValle, the acting chief of the Piapot First Nation, sits down with us to examine recent changes to Buffy Sainte-Marie's official website. We can go back to November 7th. According to an online digital archive, just days ago, the site described her this way.
Buffy Sainte-Marie is believed to have been born in 1941 on the Piapot First Nation reserve in Saskatchewan.
That sentence is now gone, removed a few days after a Fifth Estate investigation challenged her claims to Indigenous ancestry. The site also no longer refers to her as a Cree singer-songwriter.
That's clearly disappointing that she's removing, any reference to Piapot and her Indigenous heritage.
He says he finds the whole thing confusing because Sainte-Marie now seems to be revising her ancestry claims. In her first direct statement to CBC News, Sainte-Marie has confirmed that she removed facts from her website. She says she did it because she has an obligation to protect her supporters who have faced criticism as a result of this story. Sainte-Marie does have a connection to Piapot. She was adopted as an adult by a local family in the 1960s. But LaValle said he grew up believing she was born there, just like he was. He remembers when Sainte-Marie was celebrated as the first Indigenous person to win an Academy Award for her role writing the song Up Where We Belong. That claim, too, is no longer on her website.
When she won an Oscar, we all won an Oscar, believing 100% that she was Indigenous and from Piapot, and we were proud of that.
Documents uncovered by the Fifth Estate, like Sainte-Marie's birth certificate and marriage certificate, say she was actually born in Massachusetts. LaValle says the situation was made even more confusing with Sainte-Marie's recent public statements responding to our investigation. "I don't know where I'm from or who my parents are," she wrote. He said Sainte-Marie owes his community a definitive answer as to whether she's related to a Piapot family or the Massachusetts family.
There's one way we can all find out, a DNA test, right? I'm no expert on the topic, but I think would definitively answer that question.
CBC News asked Sainte-Marie what she thought about the acting chief's request that she take a DNA test. She didn't respond to that question. In an email to CBC News, she said, "I don't need to answer to you." Jeff Leo, CBC News, Regina.
Imagine having more than 80 parcels show up at your door this year, but none of them are addressed to you. That's the case for a Regina man who believes he's at the center of an online scam. Mickey Kupchik says the apparent Facebook Marketplace scam started about a year ago when he started receiving packages in the mail. He says he learned about how the scam works from a woman whose package arrived at his door. Kupchik says a supposed buyer offered to pay her more for her item than it was worth. But there was a catch. The buyer also asks her to include a gift card as part of the deal. But they wouldn't make the final payment until they received a gift card number and security code.
All right, so the person sends the code for the gift card. Well, guess what? As soon as that person has that code, they go on a shopping spree. The very next day, the PayPal pending transaction is gone.
Kupchik is trying to warn others about the scam. He estimates people have lost as much as $50,000 this year just in the parcels that have arrived at his house. Regina police say people offering to overpay should be seen as a red flag. The Saskatchewan Roughriders officially have a new head coach. Corey Mace has been named the 48th head coach of the Green and White. Mace comes to the team after a series of disappointing seasons for the Roughriders. Former head coach Craig Dickinson's contract was not renewed at the end of this season, one that ended with 7 straight losses. Mace joins the Riders after spending the last 2 seasons as the defensive coordinator of the Toronto Argonauts. He helped that team win a Grey Cup in 2022. The 37-year-old will be formally introduced by the team on Friday morning. What a weird way to end November. A little bit of flurries in the province today, but it was pretty short-lived. As we flip the calendar to December tomorrow, people will start to wonder, is a white Christmas going to be in the cards? Ashwarya Duda will have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. Welcome Welcome back. Saskatchewan Polytechnic students are partnering with the Mackenzie Art Gallery in Regina through work-integrated learning to set the students up for some success down the road. Interactive design and technology students will get mentorship and hands-on experience in the creation and implementation of digital design and technology using 3D printing, virtual reality, and other art forms. Students are going to marry art and design with technology to create interactive installations and digital experiences for visitors of the gallery. Palmer Spencer is one of the students excited to build connections and enhance his skills and resume as a beginner designer.
We're lucky enough to work pretty hands-on in the way that we work from a laptop most of the day. We're in the interactive design technology program, but this is a good way of working with our hands, like physically with stuff right in front of us, and be able to gain that perspective as opposed to differently just being on a screen.
The real-world assignments they're doing for their program might also be used by the Mackenzie in the future. Students in the two-year program are going to be prepped to work in a variety of tech fields, including web developing and designing, digital marketing, and event photography.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. 2023 model clear-out is on now.
A live look now at downtown Regina. Awfully clear night there tonight. It's still 2 degrees in Regina. Super nice last day of November. Ashwarya Duda joins me now with a look at your forecast.
November is not ending the way that it started. We're getting much closer to seasonal now. Let's take a look at those current conditions. Still seeing some cloud cover over much of the province. A few flurries falling here and there, but those frigid conditions continue in the far north. Stony Rapids at -29, Collins Bay at -24, La Ronge at -8, and getting into south and central, Saskatoon and Regina are at -2, Weyburn as well, -3 in Yorkton, -6 in Kindersley. Now, cooler than yesterday, we saw more green than we're seeing today, but getting into Friday, those temperatures really drop down to -8, even -10 in some areas in south and central before those seasonal temperatures continue into the weekend and we see a warm up into next week. Now, those winds are staying pretty calm today coming in from the north, so not expecting them to pick up anytime soon. We're seeing some flurries in east central Saskatchewan, around Yorkton, and in the Humboldt-Hudson Bay area. Some increasing cloudiness overnight, blanketing much of the province. And then we'll get some clearing around Prince Albert, Yorkton, even Saskatoon by tomorrow afternoon. Then those clouds build up back again overnight Friday before we see some clearing on Saturday into the weekend in Saskatoon and southern parts of the province. Now, we're seeing these cooler temperatures because a trough that you can see there in blue and purple that was northeast of us, it's moving towards the northwest, and as it's passing by Saskatchewan, it's kind of dipping into the province and bringing some wintry seasonal conditions. It'll be out by Sunday though, and we'll be back to above normal conditions. And you'll see that in your forecast here, Regina. Temperature tomorrow will be -5 with a low of -13. Getting into the weekend, they'll bump back up to -10. A little breezy on Monday, but those temperatures really rising. 3 degrees on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday, and then a chance of flurries on Thursday, but those temperatures continue to stay warm. Saskatoon as well, seeing a bit of a drop tomorrow, going down to -7, and then on the weekend we'll be at -3, overnight low of -12 on Saturday, and then there's a chance of flurries on a Monday for Saskatoon as well. Getting into next week, those temperatures rise to 2 degrees on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday, and then Thursday we're back to that freezing mark, and the overnight lows stay in the minus single digits. So Sam, a bit of a cool off is happening right now, but we'll be back to over seasonal conditions and warmer conditions once again into next week.
Thanks, Ashwarya. The London Zoo gave these Sumatran tiger cubs an early peek at the advent calendar with the help of a scented trail of cinnamon and nutmeg. The resident squirrel monkeys, though, they seem to get the hang of reaching for the hidden treats. The Christmas tree-shaped calendar was reserved for frisky meerkats. And if you're wondering, those 25 slots contain their favorite snacks, crickets. We'll be back after the break. A new 3-digit suicide prevention helpline has been launched across the country. People experiencing a mental health crisis can call or text 988. Deshauna Reed has more.
It's Canada's new 3-digit number.
988, a new number Ottawa says will be a lifeline for Canadians.
Canada's new 3-digit number for suicide prevention is up and running. Thank you.
Similar to 911, 988 connects people in crisis by text or phone to a live trained responder closest to them, available in English and French 24/7. Immediate support for people who are thinking about suicide or those worried about someone else. The operator will assess the individual's safety risk and take appropriate steps.
We all know that 988 will help save lives.
Each day in Canada, approximately 12 people die by suicide.
Materials that are going on to
Canada's largest mental health hospital is running the helpline.
We agree time is of essence, and that 3-digit number is going to make it much easier to get through.
The new crisis line brings together 39 local, provincial, territorial, and national partners, including Kids Help Phone, under one number.
People want to feel that they're getting support close to home, and they want to know that suicide prevention is there for them and those they love.
You should do XYZ if you
This nonprofit west of Toronto is one of the many community partners to join the 988 network.
Listen to their story, assess any risks that they might be feeling.
Leading up to the launch, they've been training and hiring additional staff.
How do we make it so that, you know, they've left this interaction with, okay, I have some hope.
And one phone call can make a difference. In 2007, Tanya Joy attempted suicide. 12 years later, she lost her brother to it.
It just takes that hello or questions like, what matters to you, or what do you need today, to feel like, oh, I am worth it.
The team behind 988 will be monitoring demand and wait times and report directly to the Public Health Agency of Canada. Now they say the job is to raise awareness so Canadians know anytime, anywhere, help is just a phone call away. Deshauna Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
A bit cloudy in Regina tonight. Temperature will be -9 at midnight, and those winds will continue to stay calm. As we get into tomorrow morning, temperature will drop down even further to -14. Those winds stay calm and some sunshine in store for the rest of the day in Regina. By the noon hour, we'll be at -12, and those winds staying pretty calm through the rest of the day. Saskatoon, the skies are clear already tonight. Temperatures -9 at midnight. By 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, it'll drop down to -14, but some clear skies and sunshine in store for Saskatoon as well. Temperature will rise to -10 by the noon hour in Saskatoon.
Thanks, Aishwarya. And before we leave you, it's not quite December, but that hasn't stopped this Edmonton man from decking the halls, and he might need more halls soon.
This year, we're right in the area of about 135,000. So basically, it's 320 hours to set up outside. You know, that number hasn't changed for a couple of years. I find efficiencies, and then we add more, and it just kind of eats that up.
135,000 Christmas lights. Don Dombrowski installs each light himself with help from his wife and stepdaughter. He says they're in honor of his brother-in-law who lost his battle recently with ALS. Dombrowski says he's been setting up more and more elaborate displays for 7 years while also collecting donations for the food bank. He says he puts in the work to brighten the lives of those around him and to help his community shine. And shine it does. That is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always go to our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or download the news app. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.